Hello everyone, it's a AP Chemistry class. So first of all, I want to discuss about the AP Chemistry. What is AP Chemistry? AP Chemistry is the advanced placement chemistry related to the higher studies. Okay, so like science classes, normal science classes, AP Chemistry is difficult class. So, but it is not a difficult regarding the students level, related to the students level, because if you are getting, if you know what you are getting from the resources, then it's easy and it's very easy to score the good marks in the AP Chemistry. So today first of all I want to discuss about the chemical bonding, that is the AP related syllabus. So chemical bonding. So in the chemical bonding, first of all I want to discuss about the bond, because if we know about the bond, then it is easy for us to discuss about the chemical bonding and the different types of bonding that are present in the atoms. So bond is not a line. Suppose in the general books the representation of bond like this. Suppose it's a A and this is a B, and in between it's a like a line, it's a bond, but it is not a line. Bond is a representation, it is a representation of attraction between the two atoms. How the attraction between the two atoms? Let's discuss. Suppose we have the two atoms A and B, and we know that the structure of atom, in every atom, that the central part is called as a nucleus. Suppose in case of A, that is called as a nucleus, and we know that in the nucleus neutrons and protons are present. Okay, and according to the Bohr's model, the electrons are revolve around the nucleus, and that are the different shells which have the fixed energy. So first one is a K shell, second one is the L shell, next one is the M shell up to this. Okay, so neutrons carry zero charge, or we can say that the neutrons are the neutral species. Okay, so protons carry positive charge, and in the different shells electrons are present. But how we know about the electrons are present? How many electrons are present in the K shell? It is a very difficult question, and to find out the number of electrons are present in different shells, the formula is the 2n raised to power 2. 2n raised to power 2, and the n is the number of shell. In which shell we want to find number of electrons? Suppose in the K shell, we know that after the nucleus, K shell is the first shell. K is our first shell. So for K, the value of n is 1. 2 into 1 raised to power 2 is equal to 2. So the maximum number of 2 electrons that are present in K shell. And same as in the case of B. In the B also, the nucleus, neutrons and protons are present, and in this also, that the electrons are revolve around the nucleus. So how the bonds will be formed? What are the attractions? What are the repulsions between these? Because we know that in the A and B, if we represent A and B like this, and if we represent A and B like this, it is a difference between these two. Like it is a bond length. Here it is like this, and here it is like this. What is the difference between these, and how these are the different from the each other? Let's see. We know that in the nucleus, neutrons and protons are present, and we already discussed that the neutrons are the neutral species and the protons carry the positive charge. It means this nucleus carry the positive charge, and this electron carry negative charge. And same case of B, this carry positive charge and this carry negative charge. Here different types of repulsions and the attractions take place. How? This nucleus attract this electron toward itself. Okay, it is the first type of attraction. Second, this nucleus also attract these electrons It is a second type of attraction. This nucleus also attract this electrons from here. It is a third attraction, and this nucleus also attract these electrons. It is a fourth attraction. Okay, and some repulsions are also there. How repulsions? This electron also repel this electron. So first repulsion. This nucleus also repel from this nucleus. Second repulsion. So you can see here 4 types of attraction properties are worked and 2 types of repulsion properties are worked. Okay, it means the attractive properties are more as compared to repulsive property. So the bond will form between the 2 atoms. Understood how the bond will form? So let's discuss about different types of bonds. Different types of bonds, and it is a definition of bond. It is a interaction between the 2 atoms, that are the attraction between the positive and the negative species. So next is the types of bonds. So first I want to discuss about that is the ionic bond. Second is a covalent bond, and third one is a coordination bond. Other types of bonds are also formed between the 2 atoms, but here we just discuss about these 3 types of bonds. First is the ionic bond, second one is a covalent bond, and third one is a coordination bond. So first of all, ionic bond. What is an ionic bond? It's clear from the name, that is ionic. Ionic means ions will be formed. Ions means cation and anion. Ionic bond will be formed between metals and non-metals. I think you know about the elements that are the metals, non-metals and the metalloids. So first of all, metals. How metals and non-metals will be formed the ionic bond? First of all, the metals. We know that the metals are the elements which have the electropositive nature. Electropositive nature. What is the meaning of electropositive nature? We know about the nature of metals. Like metals, if we talk about sodium, magnesium, aluminium, these are the metals. Suppose sodium. In case of sodium, the atomic number of sodium is 11. Its electronic configuration is 281. It's a K shell. This one is L and this one is M. Sodium contain only 1 electron in its outermost shell, and it is also called as a valence shell. Valence shell or outermost shell. In case of sodium have only 1 electron in its outermost shell, and the 2 cases are there because sodium also want to become stable. How sodium want to become stable? 2 cases are there. First, sodium lose 1 electron and to become stable, and second case, sodium gain 7 electron from any other element and become stable. But it's easy to lose 1 electron as compared to gain 7 electron. Okay, so sodium lose 1 electron and become stable. Sodium lose 1 electron and convert into sodium positive. That is a sodium, but here it is a sodium ion. Okay, because ion means that is a cation. That all I'll discuss that what is the meaning of cation and what is the meaning of anion. And same as in the case of the non-metals, because here we are talking about that the metals and the non-metals. Metals we already discussed, like in the case of magnesium and aluminium. Magnesium have the 2 electrons in its outermost shell because its atomic number is 12. So the tendency of magnesium to lose 2 electrons to become stable. And then the case of aluminium, aluminium have the 3 electrons in its valence shell or in its outermost shell. So aluminium has the valency 3, that it can lose 3 electrons to become stable. So now we talk about the non-metals. Non-metals are electronegative in nature. Electronegative nature. What is the meaning of electronegative nature? It is in the opposite of the metals. Like metals want lose electrons to become stable, but non-metals gain electron to become stable. Suppose if we talk about the chlorine, we know that in the chlorine the atomic number is 17, electronic configuration is 2a7, and in its outermost shell chlorine contain 7 electrons. So chlorine want 1 electron to become stable, 1 electron to become stable. Okay, so chlorine gain electron from any other element and convert into Cl negative. It is a chlorine atom, it is a chlorine ion. Which type of ion? That is a cation or anion, that I will discuss now. Which species, which element carry positive charge that is called as cation? Like in the previous one case, we talk about the Na positive. So Na positive is a sodium cation because sodium carry the positive charge, and the species, the element which contain or which carry negative charge are called as anion. Understood? What is the meaning of cation and anion? The element which carry positive charge is called as cation, and the element which carry the negative charge is called as anion. How cations and anions will be formed? If any element lose electrons and carry positive charge, that is called as cation, and if any element gain electron and carry negative charge is called as a anion. So ionic bond is also called as a electrovalent bond. Electrovalent bond. What is the meaning of electrovalent bond and the ionic bond? It is the interaction between the positive and the negative charge. So what will happen when the positive and the negative charge will be formed, and how that are related to each other and will be converted into a bond. So in case of sodium lose 1 electron and convert into sodium positive. Next case, chlorine want 1 electron, that gain 1 electron from the sodium to convert into chlorine negative. Okay, so sodium positive and chlorine negative, it is the oppositely charges. So the attraction between the oppositely charges and the bond will form NaCl. That is a neutral species, because positive charge, here it is 1 positive and here it is 1 negative. So the positive and negative attract each other and form a neutral species. That is a NaCl is sodium chloride. In the AP, sometimes the question will come that is related to the diagrams, that is the electron dot structure. So electron dot structure means in sodium, we know that the sodium have only one electron in its outermost shell, and chlorine have the 7 electron in its outermost shell. These are the dot, because we represent electrons with the help of dot. So here sodium lose 1 electron and convert into sodium positive, and Cl lose 1 electron, gain 1 electron and convert into Cl negative. And when attraction between positive and negative charge, then NaCl will be formed, and NaCl is a sodium chloride, and it is a dot structure because we represent electrons in the form of dots. Okay, so if we talk about the MgCl, we know that in the case of Mg have the 2 electrons in its outermost shell, because if we talk about the dot structure, so I represent here 2 electrons with the help of dots, and same as in the case of Cl. But here one problem is this: Mg have 2 electrons. Mg want to lose 2 electrons to become stable, but here Cl want only 1 electron to become stable. So here we need 2 Cl atom, because in first case Mg lose 1 electron, and in second case Mg lose 1 electron and convert into Mg2 positive, and here 2 Cl negative. It is not written like this Cl2 negative, it is a not, because it is a difference between the 2 Cl negative and Cl2 negative, because 2 Cl negative means we have the 2 chlorine atoms, and every chlorine atom gain 1 electron and convert into -1. Okay, so it is a incorrect way to write the Cl negative. So after the attraction between these two, convert into MgCl2, and same as in the example of that, like ANO, MgO, these are the examples related to the chemical bonding, ionic bond. So now some properties are there for the ionic bond, and it is a very strong forces, because in the ionic bond positive and negative interaction, it means these are the very strong forces. So first property is the forces are very strong. So other properties are related to this property also. So the topic is properties of ionic bond. So the first property is the strong forces of attraction. Second is the first property is the strong forces of attraction. Why the strong forces of attraction? Because strong forces of attraction between the two oppositely charged, one is a positive and second is a negative. So that is the reason is called as a strong forces of attraction. Second is a physical state. Physical state normally is in the solid form, but in the solid form they can't conduct electricity. But in case of molten and aqueous, they conduct electricity. What is the meaning of molten and the aqueous? Molten is in the state from the solid convert into a liquid. Okay, and the aqueous means the solution in which the water as a solvent is called as in the aqueous solution. So here it is written that the physical state normally is in the solid, but solid it is a can't conduct electricity. But in the molten and in the aqueous form they conduct electricity, because in the molten and the aqueous form the ions will be present. Ions will be present. Due to the presence of ions, they conduct electricity. Okay, so next is the third property. Because in the second property, that is in the solid form means can't conduct electricity, because in the solid form, how the ions, that positive and ions, negative ions will be formed. So it is in the molten and the aqueous form that the ions will be present. So due to the presence of ions, they conduct electricity. Third is the melting and the boiling point. Melting and boiling point. Here it is also correlated with the strong forces of attraction. How? Melting point we know, that is the any solid start convert into a melting, that is called as a melting point. The temperature at which solids start convert into melting form, that is called as a melting point. And any liquid that is convert into a boiling form, like the water vapors, is called as a boiling point, at which temperature. So melting and the boiling point, due to the forces of attraction, due to strong forces of attraction, melting point and boiling point will be high. And the melting and the boiling point will be high. Why the melting and boiling point will be high? Due to the presence of strong forces of attraction. We need more temperature to convert into a forces of attraction to the less forces of attraction, to remove the forces of attraction or to break the strong forces of attraction. We need the more amount of temperature. So it means in the case of melting, the melting point, like the temperature we need is more, and in the case of boiling, that is more. Okay, so it means that is in the melting and the boiling point will be more. So next is the fourth property, that is the polarity, like solubility. We can say that is solubility. What is the meaning of solubility? Any material that dissolved in any other solution is called as a solubility. Or if we talk about that is a water, so solubility. Ionic compounds are soluble in water. Ionic compounds are soluble in water. Why soluble in water? Because water is a polar compound. What is the meaning of polar? Two types of compounds, that is the non-polar and polar. Polar means the polarity, the polar will be formed. Suppose in case of water, we know that in the case of water, that is the H positive and OH negative will be formed. These are the polarities, positive and negative. So in the case of the ionic, we know that is in the ionic like NaCl, MgCl2. Here also ions will be formed, Na positive, Cl negative. So it's easy to soluble these type of compounds in water because these are the polar in nature. But in the case of non-polar, because like hydrogen, like Cl2, it is a non-polar because here hydrogen and hydrogen, same species are there. Okay, and Cl also. Suppose in this case Cl and Cl. How positive and negative will be formed? Because it depends on the electronegativity. And here the electronegativity of both the elements are same. But here the electronegativity both the elements are not same. So it means positive and negative will be formed. And that due to the positive and negative, they are the soluble in water. Okay. So now I recap the topic from the beginning. So first of all, we discuss about the AP, that what is the AP chemistry. So after the AP, that is the chemical bonding. In chemical bonding, firstly we will discuss about that is a bond, different types of forces, that are present in bond, that are repulsive and the attractive forces, but the attractive forces are more as compared to repulsive forces. Third is the types of bond. Fourth is the ionic bond. Fifth is the polar and non-polar. And with the ionic bond, we already discussed that the properties of ionic bond. So next time we'll meet again with the new topic, with the new excitements, with the new possibilities. Okay, so bye bye students.